This is Bill with Rocky Valley RV, and we're going to go over some tips and tricks on getting your camper ready for the season. Today, we're going to go through de-winterizing your camper. We're going to start at your water panel. Some campers have a built-in one. Some just have a spot you hook your hose up on the outside. Everyone's a little bit different. This is a fifth wheel that's got a water panel built into it. We're going to use it, and later we'll kind of show you a couple other ways that the water heater could be bypassed. I always start with connecting my city water hose, and I'm going to look at the water panel settings that are inside here. I don't want to unbypass the water heater unless I have to. So in this case, I'm going to concentrate on this valve, and I'm going to take it to number 2, which is where it is, and number 6, so that we go to city water connection. Now I'm going to turn my hose on, and I'm going to have this outside shower pulled out just in case the valve's been left on. I don't make a mess inside. So now I've got our water turned on. We have water flowing to the camper. We're set up in summer mode. I'm going to start by just making sure that my lines are bled. If I can get it to unstick. I'm going to start with the outside shower. And the primary reason I do that is just to make sure that all the air is out of the system and I don't forget it, because I'm good at forgetting it, and if you forget it, you can still get antifreeze throughout the year going through your system inside. This is non-toxic antifreeze that we use, so I'm not concerned about any critters getting it and consuming it and having issues, or kids. So I don't mind putting it on the ground. We're just going to run the water until it's clear. No antifreeze coming through it. Typically the longest time you're going to wait is the first faucet you do, the first hot or cold side. Once I've bled that out, now we're going to move inside, and we're going to start at the furthest faucet from the water intake. So now we're inside. In this rig, the furthest faucet from the city water connection is the second bathroom. It doesn't matter if you start on hot or cold. You want to turn it on and just have patience until that water runs water instead of antifreeze. It will take several seconds, maybe even a minute in some cases, to get that water back here. So now that our water is running clear, I'm going to flip over. I'm going to do the other side. Don't be surprised if your pressure is a little off starting now. There may be buildup inside your screens. This one's going to need a wrench to get it off. That happens after it sits over the winter. But if you take a wrench and a rag and put it on the bottom of your faucet, you can turn that off. Clean out what's inside of there. Get all the little debris that's been settled in those lines. Any calcium buildup that got knocked free. Once I have clear water running out of the cold side, I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to open up the commode lid, and I'm going to get water flowing into the commode until we have clear running here as well. Anywhere you leave pink can show back up in the rest of the trailer as it works its way out through the system. So it's pretty important to make sure that it's all clear. From here, I'm going to move to the next location, which in this camper is the kitchen. Doing the same exact thing. Turn on the water, let it run clear, and you can see it takes a whole lot less time as you work further in to get that antifreeze out of the system. Now, if you have a water filter bowl, you will want to dump that out twice in this process. This camper doesn't have that, so we didn't do it, but you want to empty it before you start. Put it back on there. After you go through your winterization cycle, you'll want to do it again. Don't forget, like I almost just did, to get your sprayer on the kitchen as well. And then we're going to move to the last place in this rig, which is the master bath. In the last stage, it really doesn't matter. My personal preference, I always still start the furthest away from the city water connection. In this case, it's going to be the toilet. I'm going to run this until it runs clear. Then, in this case, I'm going to move to the shower. I'm going to slowly open the shower up because it will tend to leak. And this one, they have the head shut off. That's better. And go clear. I'm just going to rinse down the wall so the pink doesn't stain. Once hot and cold are done there, the last thing we have to do inside is the sink. Don't be surprised if you still have some foam look, especially in the sinks, in the bathroom sinks, because the aerators actually add water, or add air into the water. So you'll have a little bit of foamy for quite a while coming out of those. The key is to have them white foam instead of pink foam. The last step is going to be to de-winterize the water heater. Now we have water flowing through all our faucets inside and out. The next step is going to be to flush the water heater. And this is a critical step. Spring, fall. If you ever go to Florida, you want to flush it when you come back from Florida. And we'll show you why later. With this coach, we have 3 valves right here for the bypass. And it will give you a chart for what is winterized and what is normal flow. So we're going to turn these valves to match that chart. And it's going to come through and we're going to start having water come out. Now there's 2 reasons we want to flush it. Number 1, there will be antifreeze that gets in the tank at this point. We want to make sure that antifreeze is out because hot rubbing alcohol doesn't smell or taste good. The other reason is calcium deposits. You can buy a wand, which we use a lot in bad situations, that will go in there and rinse out the tank really well. The other way you can do that, and my camera lady's going to have to watch out, is I'll put my finger in the hole and stop the water up until it builds pressure. And then I'll let it go. And I find that works really well when you keep up on it and brings the sediment from the bottom of the tank out through the drain hole. And I'll usually do this 2 to 3 times just to make sure that there's nothing flying out. I'll watch the ground. This one I don't see any calcium in, but we're going to do it another time just to make sure. If you get calcium buildup, it sits on the weld seams inside the tank and it holds against it and will cause the tanks to fail prematurely. So that's an expensive repair that can be prevented very easily and just by draining your water heater. No calcium, this one's good and clean. So the next thing I'm going to do is just pop open my pressure relief valve at the top and I'm going to thread the plug in. Now this is an Atwood or a Dometic. It has a plastic or a nylon plug. You do not want to use any thread protector on it. So no Teflon tape. That plastic will meld into the aluminum that is the tank and take care of the sealant. You may get a drip once in a while, maybe just tighten it up a little bit. Never put any metal plug in an aluminum tank. Over time they'll actually bond and it'll be a fight to get open. While I'm filling the tank, I have my pop-off valve still open. I'm going to turn my hot water faucet on. This tank is a 10-gallon tank. It's going to take a minute or 2 to fill. When it does fill, the air is going to push out. It'll spurt all over the place, and we want to do that until there is no more air coming out of the system. So now we have air pressure coming out of our pressure relief valve. I usually wait till I have a good steady stream, and then I'll shut it off. And now I'm going to finish bleeding the rest of the tank out through my outside shower. This one's really convenient because the shower is right next to the water heater. Once the air is bled, what can happen the first few times you use it is you'll get a little bit of dripping out of here. All you have to do is just turn a hot water line on, bleed some of the air out of the tank because there will always be a pocket at the top of the tank. I can hear the water leaving the tank coming out to here, so we're going to have a good flow here in a second. And you'll see there's still a little bit of antifreeze that's pushing out from the discharge side on the water heater. Once I don't hear air in the line coming out anymore, all I need to do, shut it off, Drain the hose out and stow it. We have moved inside to get warmer because it's cold out this morning. Welcome to Tennessee where cold's 50. We have a couple of tanks that we've taken out of campers over the years that had issues, primarily from sediment. But in this case, we're going to use this one for demonstration on other ways that bypasses can be installed. We have this which would attach to the back of the tank that has 3 valves on it. If you have this style valve set up, this is currently in winter mode. Well, almost. Now it's in winter mode. So your top and bottom valve are both closed, which shut water off going into the water heater, and it bypasses, so it loops in one loop between the hot and cold. So in the spring, what we need to do is come in, start with the middle valve, close it, and then we're going to open the top or the bottom, and then the opposite. This way, the water heater will fill. When it fills up, it'll come out through the hot, and it doesn't mix. A critical point in this that gets forgotten a lot is this center valve. And we'll get a lot of calls every year for my hot water's hot for a couple of seconds, then it goes cold. 90% of the time, it's this valve being open. What it allows is the hot water and the cold water to blend. Cold always takes over hot, and you end up with cold water. The other thing that can be is you can have 2 valves, 1 and 1, or 1 and 1, or just one solid valve at the bottom. So every camper is a little bit different. This is probably the most common setup that we see. A couple times in this video, I have discussed sediment buildup inside a tank. This tank we took out because it was leaking from the bottom seam, on 2 seams on the bottom. And what causes that is the sediment that's not flushed in the system. And Amy's going to zoom in here. The camera lady's going to zoom in, and you can see some of the sediment buildup that's in this one. A lot of it's dried up and gone, but that sediment will hold right on those seams, and it'll cause that to rot out quicker through the welds, which then causes a leak, which then means you got to replace the water heater. This is why it's critical that you flush your water heater a couple of times a year. We recommend at least twice. If you're a weekend camper, I would drain it every time. Every time I leave a campground, my water heater gets undone and let it drain out. That'll keep this from happening too early. If you're not comfortable doing your de-winterization, feel free to give us a call at 865-205-5784, 865-205-5784. We'll make sure you don't have any leaks that are showing up, make sure your antifreeze is all gone, and you're ready to roll for this season.